caring for children has always been one of the deepest and most satisfying things a human being can do. The world is changing, and there's never been a more important time for childcare business owners to start marketing their businesses. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything that can help you grow your childcare business and stand out in a crowded market. Welcome to the Childcare Business Growth Podcast. Hey everyone, it's Nick here from Childcare Business Growth. I hope you guys are having another super awesome day. So today I am super excited to have Asia Rivers on with me. Now, not only is Asia one of our member success coaches inside the Childcare Business Growth community, but Asia is an expert around business and personal credit, okay? So the reason why I want to particularly get Asia on right now, from the conversations that we have been having, not only is there this is the time to be focused on rebuilding our business credit, but also there's a huge opportunity right now to be able to capitalize on, unfortunately, what we would say other people's, missed opportunities. Because let's face it, we're in a post-pandemic world, or going into that post-pandemic phase. Things are starting to come back to a little bit more like normal. And, the reality is that there are a lot of businesses right now that have not survived this pandemic. And what we are trying to do with this particular podcast is help you rebuild your credit, but also help you look at the positive factors and look at the opportunities that are available to you right now to be able to potentially grow your business by taking on more locations as well. Now, I'm not going to do it anywhere near enough justice, Asia, to give an introduction. So do you want to just, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you are extremely busy, and I'm very grateful for you taking the time to be with us. But do you mind just giving everyone a quick overview to you and a bit about your background, just so everyone has an idea exactly what your expertise are?
Gotcha. So, thank you for welcoming me to speak on the Childcare Business Growth Live Show. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So I'm Asia Rivers. I am the owner, CEO of Seal the Deal Credit Consultants, but also Talk Childcare to Me, which is a multi-site childcare centers here in Louisville, Kentucky. So I'm very excited to be on. So give me just a second, but so I have two centers, but I also work with multiple people rebuilding their personal credit, but also their business credit. That is my primary goal, is to make sure that people understand how to build, utilize, and protect their business credit, regardless if you're a startup, regardless if you're going to expand your operations or even shut down your operations. It's a very important factor when transitioning through each one of these pillars.
Okay. Now, it's an important phase because I know that at the start of the pandemic, obviously, there's a lot of clients we work with around the world on their childcare businesses, and everyone was panicking. There was one particular client, I'll never forget this, but there was a client that literally had no access to funding, cash flow totally dried up. And let's face this, without cash flow in your business, without that, focusing on the financial aspect of any business, the chances are that potentially we could lose this amazing business that we have because either our credit's not right, we're not managing our cash flow correctly, and we're not making the most of the opportunities as well. And you and I have obviously had numerous conversations now around, some of the businesses that are maybe not survived this time, but also those other businesses that are growing during this time. So what we're going to do today, I think the best thing if we can is to make sure we add lots and lots of value to our audience that are listening, is talking about what factors can people do to help rebuild their credit in a, dare I say it, post-pandemic world. So, Asia, what tips have you got that we can give out to everyone that will help everyone, regardless of whether they're new, whether it's a well-established business? What tips can we give them to help rebuild their business credit?
The first thing that I would advise for anyone to do is automatically have a working relationship with your CPA and accountant. Find you someone that is certified because, again, they have passed all of these tests and the quizzes, and they know the ins and outs of the number side of things. They know about the profit and loss, the balance sheet. They know about the different tax breaks, because there's a lot of tax breaks that are coming out. So most definitely have a relationship where you can call up your CPA and say, hey, is this a good investment? Should I, keep on going with my business, or should I close it down? These are going to be some crucial conversations with your CPA that they're the only one that can actually give you that answer, because they know where your assets and your liabilities are. It's not your friend. They really have to have a overall understanding of how your business operates. So make sure that whoever you choose as your CPA has a sound understanding of how the Childcare business works, because we have highs, we have lows, and this has been like one of the longest lows ever. So just make sure that you have a great standing relationship with the CPA.
Now that's a good point. So let's just make sure everyone understands. Just give me the breakdown of a CPA. Give me rather than the acronym, what is that stand for? Because there might be some businesses listening that don't understand what a CPA is.
So that is your certified public accountant. A certified public accountant just isn't any accountant. That isn't someone that's fresh out of school. That is someone who's got skin in the game. They're reputable. They're credible. They have a firm that's behind them. They actually have a long list of clients that you could go to and say, hey, this person knows exactly what they're doing. So that is the difference between having a CPA versus an accountant. If you have an accountant, it's okay. But know that in this season, you're going to have to step your game up. You're going to have to step your game up, and you're going to have to work with certified professionals to get through the rest of COVID, because the one thing about COVID, we did not know how long it was going to last. So just make sure you have a certified public accountant on your team and ready to go.
Yeah, and let's face this, I'm sure you've had conversations with maybe business owners right now that don't have those in place sometimes. Okay, I know I certainly have. So that's definitely a big factor we need to encourage people to do. What's some of before we go into tip number 2, if you don't mind me going off slightly, but have you spoke to many businesses that have struggled during the pandemic because they don't have something like this in place?
Unfortunately, I've talked to hundreds of business owners throughout this time that do not have a CPA on their team. They have struggled either right before COVID, or they were struggling prior to COVID anyway. It's just a good idea to make sure you have a CPA, because again, it's going to determine whether you're going to be a failure or a success in business. They can give you that honest conversation and say, hey, this is what your bottom line really looks like. This is what your balance sheet statement looks like. What's the purpose of this balance sheet statement? Ask questions. Get in the habit of learning to ask questions, because again, it's going to be like a tug of war, but that is the one person that you should be able to count on to tell you whether or not, hey, you got a fighting chance, or hey, you might have to shut it down and reconfigure and rework your way back into the business another route. So again, CPA is going to be very crucial.
Yeah, it's a big thing as well that, I speak to a lot of business owners as well that don't pay themselves. This was us, 6 years ago. We were taking hardly anything from our childcare business because we're always thinking, oh, no, we've got to, reinvest. But, I speak to so many business owners on a daily basis. When you ask them, what are you taking from the business? Oh, I'm just taking a bare minimum wage, or I'm not taking anything. And when you ask them, you say, why? Well, because I don't have the money. I don't have the finances. And this is basically because a lot of the time, with the greatest respect to the sector, think about this, any business, there are 5 key areas to running any business. There's marketing, sales, operations, delivery, and finance. Let's face it, most of us have gone into the childcare sector because we love what we do. In other words, we love providing the high quality care. We love looking after the children. So it's the operations and delivery that we're really good at. But often it's the marketing, sales, and the finance section that gets left behind. So your point there around, whether we should be thinking about shutting it down, because let's face it, speak to so many owners that work crazy hours and don't pay themselves enough, or don't pay themselves at all. And it gets to that point where they think to themselves, well, is it worth carrying on? Now, on the positive side here, there's obviously huge opportunities for people. And that's why we want to do this episode, because there is, even though it's been a really, really tough time, there's lots of finance out there right now. There's lots of opportunities for growth. So as a second tip for business owners right now, as someone starting out, what's the next big tip you would give them to help get or build their business credit back up?
Gotcha. Focus on your personal credit. I know a lot of business owners who think that, okay, we can skip the step of building and protecting our personal credit, that we can go ahead and just build automatically into our business credit. You cannot. You can do it on the first round of business credit, in which business credit works in a 3-tier model. So you got tier 1, 2, and 3. And in order to get through step 2, you have to have sound and pristine personal credit. I know that it may sound crazy, but again, whenever a lender goes to look at your business credit, they also verify the identity of the business owner, but they also make sure that you are able to pay back your financial responsibilities as well. So if the business owner cannot commit to paying back their own personal responsibilities, how can you speak for a business to say, hey, we're going to pay back this obligation of this debt that we're going to owe you, or we're going to assume? It's just, again, it doesn't make sense. So therefore, if you're thinking about opening a business, if you're thinking about growing your business, if you're thinking about expanding into, a new sector or a new market of, because there's a lot of opportunities for childcare that is arising right now. But if you're thinking about it, make sure to go back and check on your personal credit. Throughout the pandemic, we've seen an increase in fraud. So that's going on. Some people have their personal credit has been attacked by fraud. They're duplicating credit cards, using people's information to apply for PPP loans. It is overwhelming, so overwhelming that the SBA has its own special unit called Fraud, Waste, and Abuse to attack the fraud that is going on. Another thing about personal credit, the federal government, they had put in a bunch of legislative regulations and rules to say, hey, student loans can't charge interest. There's some student loans that's putting on interest onto people's credit. They're not supposed to. And what does that do? That drives up your debt to income ratio. So again, you want to make sure to check your personal credit often. Make sure that what is actually there it belongs to you and it is accurate. Doing so is going to just set you up for success later on down the line with business credit. Bridging the gap into business credit is going to be crucial. Whenever you get ready to bridge that gap between personal and business credit, whoever is your lender, and right now the SBA is huge. And those of you that do not know what the SBA is, it's the Small Business Administration. Any business that makes less than $35.5 million per year, and that's a lot of us that falls up underneath that, you are considered a small business. If you have less than 1,500 employees, you're considered a small business. So there's a lot of us that meet that criteria. So with bridging that, going back to bridging the personal and business credit. Business credit, when you get to business credit, whenever you apply for these SBA loans, anything over $200,000, they're going to verify your identity, but then also business credit wise, they're going to attach it to your business as well. They're going to pull what's known as Dun & Bradstreet, which is pretty much the center of the holder of all your business credit information. I don't care what type of business you're in, your industry, the name of your business, there's some tad bit of information that's stored in Dun & Bradstreet. So I could talk on and on, Nick, but I want you to have me to show that. But I could go really into detail more about business credit piece of that. But the main point was, again, make sure that your personal credit is accurate.
And how often would you recommend people, put this in place? Because let's face this is one of these things that we should be doing on a regular basis. So, I would make a suggestion around scheduling this. How often would you recommend someone goes in to keep a check on this type of thing? Checking their credit score, keep an eye on their personal finances. How often? What's your recommendation on that, Asia?
If you're not going to have any monitoring set in place, I will most definitely make sure that I have at least every 30 days to do a check-in on Experian, Equifax, TransUnion across the board, because there are 3 different bureaus. They have three different routes of verifying their information that they have. So again, just at a bare minimum, every 30 days to check in.
Yeah. Now, guys, some of you that might be watching from, the UK or Australia, wherever you are around the world, just because Asia's making reference or Asia's from, the US, this doesn't mean this is not relevant to you guys. It's exactly the same principle here, okay? Whichever way you look at this, all the points Asia's making is, it's relevant to all of you, wherever you are around the world. These are factors that every single one of us should be considering. Now, what's your third one, Asia? Because obviously, let's face this, there are big opportunities right now. Unfortunately, out of any negative experience going on in the world, there are also lots of opportunities that come out too. And for us as a sector, even though it's been a tough 18 months, there are now some real big opportunities. There are some clients we work with right now that are growing by 2, 3, 4 locations. And they're just seizing those opportunities. Owners that are maybe fed up, coming to the end of retirement, that want to sell, just had enough, obviously didn't cope that well with the pandemic, etc. There are lots of opportunities out there. So what's your tip to help deal with that, to be able to make the most of this opportunity right now?
Jump and expand. I mean, it just really, I'm going to always say that. But history shows us every time that we go through anything.
Oh, you're back. We lost you then. Oh, I think we lost your audio is back. There you go. You're back now.
Okay, perfect. So history shows us anytime that we go through any kind of economic downfall, there's always a rise afterwards. You see a lot of people, become substantially wealthy. And the reason is because when people lose their businesses or they're going through transition, whatever the story may be, you have new people come in, take over, and they seize the opportunity. So in my vocabulary, CEO stands for conquer every opportunity. And right now it is the time for opportunity for growth. But however, you need to make sure that you go through those steps to make sure that your business is financially sound to go through an expansion, because again, balance sheet, profit and loss statement. You're going to be speaking to your accountant, the SBA, or wherever you get to choose, whoever your lender is. They're going to be checking your personal credit. They're going to check your business credit. They're going to make sure that you don't have any pending judgments, collections, tax liens. And when I say the tax liens are rolling out left and right because the federal government is back open, everything's flowing. So there's a lot of businesses that are being smacked with citations or tax liens. So again, it is crucial that the business owner stays on top of that. But again, it is a prime time to be expanding if you can do so, even if it is just secure the property now so you can profit later. You can lease the space out. You could, create another business in there, or just sit on it, for a later date, because we never know what the market is going to do. And 9 times out of 10, it's only going to increase. You're going to be able to get some, be profitable off of that, just sitting on it. So, you have some business owners that are choosing to do so at this time.
And that's a good point, because let's face this, there are, as Aja pointed out there are opportunities where maybe existing business owners are looking to sell right now because they've had enough, they've just retirement, whatever reason it is, or there are opportunities with maybe locations or buildings that are potentially coming up on the market. And that's a really good point that I think you've made is, even if you're not ready right now, there's potential to maybe look at that for the future. If you can sit on that, let's hold that premises there. Let's get it secured while we've got this reduced rate as such. And obviously then there's going to be that potential for growth in the property value, or maybe to open another location later on. Now, someone said this to me recently. It was a point that I think is really important to point out here. By no means are we obviously saying to everyone, go out and buy another opportunity, because I truly have this belief that if you're not if you're not paying yourself a good wage from your business, if you're not in a situation where you're doing probably at least half of that, 500,000 a year in your business, don't take on another business right now, because you're not ready for it. Okay. Let's make sure that, as Asia's pointed out, you're financially sound, your business credit's in place, but then you're paying yourself what you're worth as well from your business, because, when it comes to those tough days, which you're going to have, they're going to come around. You need to make sure that you know exactly why you're doing this. What is that bigger picture? So, Asia, is there any other tips we can give our listeners that you would say that they really need to pay attention to help build their credit right now, or to make the most of the opportunities available to them?
One thing I would say right at this moment is get you some educational reading material regarding how credit works. We are going through transition with all regulations at the federal, the state, county levels, and things are rapidly changing. So you want to make sure to have a grasp on what exactly are those people that are making these judgments, what they're.
Oh, it's all right. You might, I think you're coming back now.
Yeah, we're back.
You're back.
Gotcha. Yeah, you want to make sure what their mind frame is, how you can contribute to the conversation, but also how you can advocate as well too. So just make sure that you have a found substantial grasp on what exactly the terminology that is being used, because again, right now things are just changing. They're rapidly changing. Even here in Kentucky, we have had 2 sets of regulations delivered to us, and we were told to abide by them all less than within a week. One set on Monday and another set on Friday. So how overwhelming is that for a child care provider? So again, we were made to make these huge changes in such a short time. And again, if you're expanding, remember you have to abide by these new regulations that are set into play. So again, that will affect your cash flow. That will affect what you're paying yourself as an owner. That's gonna go up and continue to go up and down. And again, remember, business credit is helps ease some of that cash flow. It helps slow down the rate of exchange from what's leaving your business bank account each and every month. So again, take back control, get your CPA on board, get your personal credit report from whatever agency that holds that, and become familiar with the business credit. So again, just get all the reading material that you can and learn and begin to understand it.
Yeah, and I think that's really important as well. You touched on it briefly there around cash flow. Let's face this, cash flow is king at the end of the day. Without that, our business can literally plummet. We speak to people all the time around issues around, they didn't get maybe grant funding coming in on time, and they were reliant on that funding to pay the bills that they had going out. So, from a cash flow point of view, I always say to people, a very wise person said this to me a long time ago, you should always look to have at least 2 months of cash reserves in the business minimum, to pay all of your expenses out and some, so you've got to start to think about that, because I often have calls with business owners and they'll say to me, I don't have the money to market my business right now. Well, we need to start to look at our cash flow, because with the greatest respect to every one of those business owners, if you're not prepared to start to compete with those other childcare businesses out there that are marketing and putting money into their marketing, it's only going to get worse for you guys. More and more people now, the bigger companies in particular that we're trying to almost fight against are out there right now putting huge budgets into marketing spend, because they want to get more and more children into their facilities right now. And if you're in a location that's competing with someone like that, you're going to struggle if you don't have that cash in the business to be able to compete with those businesses, and it will just get worse. So make sure you have that cash flow in the business to be able to invest. So Asia, I'm very grateful for you giving up your time. There's some very valuable tips there. Now, if people want to get more information from you, I've got a link where we've got a free checklist for people as well. Haven't we? A free PDF. I'm going to give that one out, which I will post in the comments down below. But what other ways can business owners get in contact with you? How can they work with you if they're interested in finding out more?
Gotcha. If you're interested in finding out more, I'm always on Facebook, guys. You can see me at Asia Rivers. My name's up there, Asia Rivers. But however, my website is talkbizcredit.com, and that's www.talkbizcredit.com, and contact me there. Get a free consultation. All of my products are listed on there, and it is the home of Business Credit Bootcamp. So again, it's a very rigorous course, but you will get what you need from that course. How to build, utilize, and protect your business credit, but also come out on top and make sure to see that you're seeing the bottom line in your wallet.
And you also work with people one-on-one, don't you? That maybe that don't want to go through that course, they can work with you one-on-one and get that one-on-one support. Because I truly believe for us that bringing someone in-house to help manage with regards to finances has made a huge difference to us. You know, right behind me, there are 2 members of our team just literally there that manage all the finances in the business. And it's crucial because it's not my strong point, but they give me the basics of everything I do need to know in the business on a day-to-day operation. So I think, you know, guys, make sure you reach out to Asia. Asia will make a huge difference on your business. She's helping hundreds of childcare businesses right now all across the US and Canada. So make sure you reach out. I've posted the link to get Asia's free PDF, and go to that website. There's lots of information on there. Asia, just leaves me to say a massive thank you from me. I'm extremely grateful for you giving up your time. I know you've got a lot on with your consultancy and, of course, your childcare centers too. And guys, make sure you reach out to Asia, and she'll be glad to help you out. Asia, thank you so much again. And I look forward to us maybe catching up on a follow-up call to answer some of the questions that will come in from this one.
Yes, yes. Well, thanks for having me, Nick.
Thanks, Asia. I look forward to speaking to you soon. Have a great day. Bye.
We're on a mission to help business owners just like you to get more customers into their businesses and to help you stand out from your competition. If you'd like to find out more about the ways we can help your business, check out our website at childcarebusinessgrowth.com.